Fuck, you're not gonna believe this. Quitting the corporate lifestyle to run a barbershop has to be the craziest thing anyone can ever do, unless you're songe laRon and Dave Salvant. They quit their cushy jobs on Wall Street and pursued their dreams of running a barbershop tech platform called SQUIRE. And after 7 years grinding on their startup, on July 28th, 2021, their hard work finally paid off when they raised $60 million at a valuation of $750 million. But as promising as that may sound, none of it was easy. They didn't come from money, there was no backup plan. They also had no software engineering background, and in fact, they had never run a barbershop in their life. Their success story is incredible. It shows that anything is possible, and faced with obstacle after obstacle, they always overcame the odds. And then there was COVID. The world shut down, barbershops closed, revenues fell to zero overnight. This is the untold story of SQUIRE, a story of two men with a dream to revolutionize the entire barbershop industry. It's a story of courage and redemption, relentless focus on product and the customer experience. It's a true masterclass on how to make millions running a vertical software business. Songe laRon, the CEO of SQUIRE, and Dave Salvant, the president of SQUIRE, met out of all places, a house party in New York City. As the story goes, the two crossed paths in their early 20s while working in New York City. Dave worked in finance while Songe worked as a lawyer. They would meet at one of Dave's regular and now infamous house parties in Harlem. They quickly became good friends. And as anyone living in New York City in their early 20s, they had a blast. But the partying, the drinks, and the dates, it wasn't enough. It never is. With that conviction in mind, they would sneak into the buildings at Columbia University on the weekends to brainstorm business ideas. As they reflected on their lives, they realized that they had both been going to barbershops since they were 7 years old, and after 20 years, nothing about the process had changed. Even as adults 20 years later, they still had to wait around for hours for a haircut and carry around cash. It was obvious that there was an opportunity to improve the barbershop experience not only in their own neighborhoods, but across the world through scalable technology. In their mind, it was a no-brainer. Customers needed a comfortable way to book a haircut, and barbershops needed to streamline their businesses to make more money. But as we'll see later in this story, Silicon Valley and venture capitalists didn't see the same opportunity that was so obvious to Songe and Dave. This made it extremely difficult to raise capital, and the company's life would almost end many times before it would reach its true potential. By 2015, Songe and Dave both decided to go all in on SQUIRE and quit their jobs and MBA programs. The company was established with no real competition in sight, and this is an attractive characteristic of many vertical software businesses. And for those that aren't familiar with vertical software, basically vertical SaaS is an all-in-one solution for a particular business or industry niche. It targets a particular solution for that industry. The obvious drawback of this business model is that the market is naturally much smaller. It's not your typical enterprise software product like Slack or Stripe. And this posed a challenge for SQUIRE when they started to raise venture capital. Silicon Valley investors wanted to see large market opportunities, or TAMs. This was one of the many obstacles they had to overcome. Not only did they have to make the business work, but they had to change the perception of how Silicon Valley invests. And unfortunately for Silicon Valley, many short-sighted investors missed an amazing opportunity. They missed a big winner in backing Songe and Dave, and SQUIRE has demonstrated that the size of the TAM doesn't matter nearly as much as how well you're able to serve it. Because SQUIRE was focused on such a narrow customer set, the team provided an unparalleled customer experience. They quickly became the premier tech solution for barbershops. They outcompeted horizontal software offerings that provided useful software to many industries, but not tailored specifically for barbershops. But at launch, they noticed that very few of their customers were actually adopting the app. After long months of brainstorming and creating the mobile app, they were forced to go back to the drawing board. It became clear that they didn't fully understand their customer. They understood the customers of barbershops, but they didn't understand their own customers, the barbershop owners and the barbers. So they thought, to understand the customer, you must become the customer. That's exactly what they did. They bought their very first barbershop in New York City's Chelsea neighborhood for $20,000. This provided them with first-hand experience on how barbershop businesses actually work. And for the next year, the duo worked religiously at the shop. They handled every part of the business other than cutting hair themselves. Just like neither of them were computer programmers, they also had no idea how to cut hair. I know, it's crazy. And even as I'm telling this story, I ask myself how they did it. Regardless, they still had the one true goal of using technology to improve the barbershop experience. And at the end of that year, they finally understood the broader issues barbershops faced. Barbers lacked the online presence and the tools to drive excellent customer experiences. And through SQUIRE, they would transform the lives of many barbers. The SQUIRE platform connected potential customers with amazing barbers around the world, and barbershops were now able to market their services through the SQUIRE Barbershop Discovery feature. Think Instagram, but for finding a barber. This made it exceptionally easy to find and book barbers from anywhere, and not only that, customers could pay barbers all in that app, and barbers could even purchase supplies like blades and hair products. This app became a complete end-to-end tech solution for barbers, and for many, it became mission critical for business. This version of the app is the one that finally caught on.